Hello everyone, this is the Board Game Lawyer. Today I'm going to do another Marvel Champions playthrough video, and of course Marvel Champions is a product of Fantasy Flight Games. So today I'm looking forward to a thematic game of Marvel Champions. For many decades, one of my favorite short storylines has been The Deadly Foes of Spider-Man. It was a 4-issue run that took place back in 1991, and it features Spider-Man versus the Sinister Syndicate. Now thanks to the new Hood Scenario Pack, we have a modular set that's entitled Sinister Syndicate. And one of the members of the Sinister Syndicate, as you can see here on the cover of this magazine, is the Rhino. And we'll just kind of thumb through some of these covers just to kind of see some of the other characters that are contained within. Of course, we have the Beetle, one of the main members of the Sinister Syndicate. We also see that the Speed Demon is featured, Boomerang is featured, the Shocker is featured. We really need to have Hydro Man. I would like to see that in a modular set going forward. And of course, this is issue number 4, in-game Deadly Foes of Spider-Man. So this was a run that I really enjoyed, and I've read it many times over the years. And so today I'm going to use, set these books over here, the Rhino Encounter set, and I have it right here. I've already shuffled the deck, but here's the Rhino. We're going to use Rhino number 1 and 2 today, and his dial. We'll go ahead and put our hit point dial up there. And we're also going to use the Sinister Syndicate modular set as well as standard number 2 modular set, just so that we can play with some additional new cards, which will replace the standard set number 1 that came out in the base set. And of course, using that, we have this card here that's part of the standard number 2 setup. It's number 1. It's a permanent setup. It said the villain gains steady, which steady characters require 2 status cards of the same type to be stunned or confused. And so we'll give that to Rhino to keep throughout the game. It's a permanent card, so it won't go anywhere. So he'll have this ability throughout the course of our game today. And also we need to bring out our main scheme, which is the break-in. And so and the only thing that we read on the setup here is that we need to advance to stage 1B. And this reads, if this stage is completed, the players lose the game. Okay, so today I'm going to use Spider-Man as our hero, and we're going to use him with KennedyHawk's Deck the Halls 2021 Reconstructed deck. And that deck he has titled Spider-Man Sleuths. It's a Justice deck. Now, of course, these decks are not optimized because he's trying to use cards in the entire collection by swapping out a limited number from the starter set. So it's a really fun concept that I enjoyed last year and I'm enjoying again this year. So, of course, you know these videos I make just for fun, so if you see any mistakes that I've made or you see anything that I could have done better, comments are always welcome down below. And so let's begin with our setup here. All we have left is to bring out Spider-Man's dial. So he begins with a hit points of 10. I'll move this down here so we can see everything. And he begins on his alter ego side, which is Peter Parker. He has a text which reads, Scientist, Resource, Generate a mental resource. And you can do this once per round. He also begins with a hand size of 6. I'll go ahead and give both these decks here a quick shuffle. Already shuffled them quite a bit. We'll just add a little extra. And here's my encounter set. We'll draw up our hand size and we'll be ready to go. So 6 cards is what Peter Parker begins with. Of course, we draw Jessica Drew. We also are going to draw the Swinging Web Kick. We have the Spider Tracer. We draw Webbed Up. And we will draw One Way or Another. I really like that card. That's one of my favorite cards in the game right now, One Way or Another. We'll hopefully be able to see that in play. And the Enhanced Spider Sense, which is an event. Okay, so I'm going to mulligan. I'm going to throw off the Enhanced Spider Sense right to begin the game. I'm also going to, since there's no minions on board, I'm going to get rid of the Spider Tracer, not needed. I do like Webbed Up, but for now, let's just kind of get through our deck to see what else we can draw. And we'll toss Jessica Jones right now because her ability is she gets +1 thwart for each side scheme in play. Might not be a bad card actually to keep. I'll tell you what, let's hang on to her for now just to see what happens. We're going to draw 3 more cards. So we'll draw Enhanced Spider Sense, Making an Entrance, and another Spider Tracer. So not probably my most ideal opening hand, but I did get some cards that I really do like to play with, Swinging Web Kick in one way or another. And can we make use of Peter Parker's resource here? When your hero makes a basic, it doesn't look like there's anything other than Jessica Jones that we can use to get that discount at the beginning with that mental resource. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll put Jessica Jones on the table, and we'll have to spend his mental resource as well as a Spider Tracer and Making an Entrance to put her out. We'll flip to the Peter Parker to the Spider-Man side. It has a Spider Sense interrupt when villain initiates attack against you. Draw a card. So when we get attacked, we'll do that. We're going to go ahead and play the One Way or Another card, which says search the encounter deck for a side scheme. Reveal that side scheme and draw 3 cards. There is one side scheme that I like to pick on, which is Crowd Control. It's a Rhino card, but it comes into play with two threat on it, and it just has a crisis icon, which means that this scheme, while it's in play, we cannot remove threat from the main scheme over here, the break-in. So we'll go ahead and put Crowd Control on the table, shuffle my encounter deck. One Way or Another does allow us to draw 3 more cards. Let's see what we pick up. Jessica Jones' text will remind you of that. It says that she gets +1 thwart for each side scheme in play, so she herself could exhaust to get rid of Crowd Control because it has 2 threat. We'll go ahead and add that to it. Okay. And so playing the One Way or Another card allowed us to draw 3 cards. We're going to draw up a backflip. We're going to draw up another Swinging Web Kick, and we will draw Great Responsibility. Okay. So we will use a Swinging Web Kick. I think we'll use our Enhanced Spider Senses to pay for it, a backflip to pay for it, and Great Responsibility. We'll use that as well to play that Swinging Web Kick, which that deals 8 damage to the enemy. So we knock Rhino from 14. We knock 8. So we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 knocks him down to 6. Of course, Spider-Man has his attack of 2, so we'll target him for 2 more. Swinging Web Kick is in our hand. And Jessica Jones, she now has 2 thwart, so we'll go ahead and use her ability to remove Crowd Control from the table. Discard pile. She takes 1 consequential damage for that. We'll ready her, ready Spider-Man. We've got our Swinging Web Kick in our hand. We're going to draw 4 more cards. We're going to draw Skilled Investigator, Strength, One Way or Another, and Webbed Up. Not a bad hand. Hand size of 5. These are our 5 cards that will go into our next turn with, hopefully. So we begin Rhino's turn. We put 1 threat on the break-in. Rhino is going to attack Spider-Man. Of course, interrupt when the villain initiates attack against you. Draw 1 card. So we'll draw up an Endurance card. We'll add that to our hand. Let's just kind of look through our hand again, too, to see if we have any other responses to an attack. Don't have anything right offhand. So Rhino is going to attack Spider-Man. We draw our boost card. A boost of 0. Not so tough. And Rhino is going to do 2 damage to Spider-Man. 1, 2. Knocks him down to 8. And then we draw our encounter card, which is another I'm tough. Uh-oh. Give Rhino a tough status card. If Rhino already has a tough status card, this card gains surge. So he's going to be tough now. Now he's going to be tough. All right, Rhino. There you go. That's going to end Rhino's turn. So let's look and see what we've got here. We've got Webbed Up, One Way or Another, Strength, Skilled Investigator. I love that card. We'll go ahead and put that on the table. Skilled Investigator. Doesn't cost anything, and it reads, Once per player, after a side scheme is defeated, exhaust Skilled Investigator and draw one card. So, with our one way or another card, we'll go look for another side scheme. Let's see what's in the deck. What side schemes are in Rhino's deck? We have Crime Pays, which is Sinister Syndicate. We have Break In and Taken. Ooh. If we could find a way to do some damage, it wouldn't be bad to bring this one out right now. And I think we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll put Break In and Taken on the table. It comes into play with 3 threat on it since I'm playing a solo game. So 2 + 1, 3 threat. Removing it off the table should be a priority because it allows him to get an extra encounter card. Let's see, and then I get to draw 3 more cards because of that. So because of that one way or another card. So 3 more cards. Great Responsibility, the Power of Justice, and Nick Fury. Ooh, Nick Fury. All right, Nick Fury will allow us to draw some more cards as well. So we'll do that. We're going to play Nick Fury on the table. We're going to use 2 strength. We'll use our Webbed Up card. We'll use our Great Responsibility card to put Nick Fury on the table. Nick Fury comes out for 4. After I play Nick Fury, I can choose from various actions, but I'm going to choose the draw 3 cards action. So we'll draw 1, which is the Web Shooter. We'll draw another energy card, and we'll draw the Daredevil card. Okay, so I can actually put another ally on the table. So we have the Power of Justice. We're going to put out Daredevil using energy and the Power of Justice. Okay, so Daredevil says, after Daredevil thwarts, deal 1 damage to an enemy. This is a good time to do that. So we'll go ahead and do 1 thwart, or 2 thwart, with Daredevil. We'll give him 1 consequential damage to remove 2 threat from Breaking and Taken. That'll take it down to 1. And he also says when he does that, he can deal 1 damage to an enemy. Guess what? Tough card. Not so tough anymore. All right. Then we will, with Spider-Man, attack Rhino. So we'll do 2 damage. 2 damage onto Rhino with Spider-Man. Also Nick Fury. He's going to do 2 damage to Rhino, which will take Rhino down to 0. All right. So that knocks out stage 1 of the Rhino. We'll place that aside for now. Stage 2 says, when revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Breaking and Taken side scheme and reveal it. Shuffle the encounter deck. Guess what? It's already here. So with our another action this turn, let's see what we have in our hand. We've got Endurance. We've got a Web Shooter. Okay. I like that. Tell you what. We're going to use Endurance as a resource to put Web Shooter on the table. The Web Shooter says that it enters play with 3 counters. When those counters are gone, discard this card. Hero resource. Exhaust Web Shooter and remove 1 web counter from it and generate a wild resource. So we'll go ahead and put our 3 counters on the Web Shooter. Spent our Endurance card to do that. Rhino, of course, goes up to 15. That when revealed does not take place, although it says search the encounter deck and discard file for Breaking and Taken side scheme, reveal it. Shuffle the encounter deck. I guess just for the sake of following through with all the text, we'll go ahead and shuffle the encounter deck, even though the Breaking and Taken card is already on the table. And then with our last action, Jessica Jones is going to knock out Breaking and Taken. All right, so that's to the discard pile. We'll ready Nick. Well, let's see here. After doing that, I get to draw another card for Skilled Investigator because I just removed a side scheme from play. One more action. Drawing Aunt May. Ooh. Exhaust Aunt May, heal 4 damage from Peter Parker. Let's go ahead and use one of our web shooters to put Aunt May on the table now. All right. And that's an alter ego action, so we can't do anything with Aunt May right now, but we'll go ahead and ready all of our characters. Jessica Jones, she gets an additional consequential. Skilled investigator, web shooter, Nick Fury. Spider-Man's health is 8. Rhino's is up to 15. Short of drawing cards, my turn is over. So I'll draw 4 more cards. We have the Power of Justice, Heroic Intuition, Great Responsibility, and Mockingbird. After Mockingbird enters play, stun an enemy. That formidable foe definitely increased the value of Mockingbird. If we can find a way to stun Rhino with using another card. So we're going to add 1 threat to the break-in. Rhino is going to attack Spider-Man, which allows me to draw a card. Heroic Intuition. Rhino is going to attack Spider-Man. Nick Fury is going to block. He draws a card, and it says give the villain 1 additional boost card for this activation. And so he has a boost of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. Attack damage. Nick Fury is going to absorb every bit of that. And now we draw our encounter card. So we draw the encounter card, which is Boomerang. Forced response. After Boomerang attacks you, deal 1 damage to each ally you control. Ooh. Boomerang. He has health of 5. All right. So let's take a look at what we got in our hand. We got Swinging Web Kick. Always good to use. Great Responsibility, Mockingbird, Heroic Intuition. I think what we'll do is we will go ahead and, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage on the table. This would be 7. Is there a way that we can play everybody and do all the damage with Swinging Web Kick? I don't think so. Well, nope, we have the web shooter. Let's see if we got enough. So we would have 3 resources to spend to get Mockingbird out. But then we would only have 2 resources to spend to put out the Swinging Web Kick. All right. Well, maybe we'll leave Jessica Jones around for another round. Let's begin by using our Power of Justice to put Heroic Intuition on the table, which will give Spider-Man an additional thwart. Spending 2 for that. That was our Power of Justice. Equals 2 resources to put that on the table. Then we will, using Heroic Intuition, Great Responsibility, and one of our web shooters, we will target the Rhino for the Swinging Web Kick. We'll hang on to Mockingbird for now. So we'll do 8 damage with the Swinging Web Kick onto Rhino. So that'll take him down to 7. Seven damage. Of course, Spider-Man can do 2 damage to Rhino. So he'll do 2 more. And then I think Daredevil, instead of... should I have removed Boomerang from the table instead? Boy, he would knock everybody out if I don't. So let's put that 2 damage back onto Rhino. We're going to change our mind with Spider-Man. He's going to redirect his attack to Boomerang, which will do 2 damage to him. And we'll also do 2 damage with their... Nope. Tell you what, we'll do a thwart with Daredevil to remove 2 threat from the break-in. So that'll do 1 consequential damage to the Daredevil, but it will also add 1 damage to Boomerang. And then finally, with Jessica Jones, we will do 2 damage to Boomerang. And that'll knock him out. But it'll also sacrifice Jessica Jones from the table. All right. So I think everybody's done everything they can do. I've got Mockingbird in my hand. Let's get Boomerang out of here. Don't you be coming back. And Spider-Man's going to ready. Daredevil's going to ready. Skilled Investigator, Heroic Intuition. Tell you what, why don't we just do it? Before we do all that, we'll flip Peter Parker. We'll exhaust Aunt May. She'll give Peter some good old home cooking to get his health back up to 10. Then we'll finish our turn. So now we get to draw 6 cards. So we have Mockingbird. We're going to keep her. We'll also draw another Web Shooter. We'll draw the Black Cat. We've got Genius for Justice and Making an Entrance. Those are our 6 cards for our next round. So it's Rhino's turn. We're going to add 1 threat to the break-in. He's going to scheme for 1 plus a 0. So he schemes for 1. Draw the encounter card, which is Stampede, Alter Ego. This card gains Surge. We're in Alter Ego. It gains Surge. We draw another card. Charge. Attached to Rhino. When Rhino attacks, the attack gains Overkill. Excess damage from an ally is dealt to the controller at the end of this attack. Discard charge. So it's +3 attack. So Rhino's 3. He has a base attack now of 6. So if we don't knock him out this round, we're going to have to for sure figure out how we're going to absorb that much damage. So in our hand, we've got Mockingbird. We've got the Black Cat. Why don't we just play the Web Shooter and the other Web Shooter to put Black Cat out on the table? Nope, we don't have to do that. We're going to use we can't use the Web Shooter. We're going to use Peter Parker's ability for his 1 mental resource and the Web Shooter to put Black Cat onto the table. And whenever you bring her in onto the table, it says, after you play her, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. And each card with a printed mental resource discard this way goes into your hand. So we've discarded the Sonic Rifle. It comes into our hand. And a Swinging Web Kick. It's also a mental resource. So that too comes into our hand. And that is great because look at what happens. So we flip over to Spider-Man's side. Spider-Man's going to do a Swinging Web Kick. We'll spend all of our resources. We'll just overpay for that because now that's going to knock Rhino all the way down to 0. Swinging Web Kick. Thank you, Black Cat, for stealing that Swinging Web Kick from my deck. I was getting really close, too. I only had 4 cards left in my deck. But Spider-Man, in this case, defeats the Rhino. So again, I would like to thank KennedyHawk from the Marvel Champions Monthly Podcast crew for building this deck. And for those watching, if you'd like to contact me, you can shoot me an email at boardgamelawyer@gmail.com. Really want to thank you for watching, and I hope to bring you another video again very soon.